Contracts are unraveling across Jacksonville at a rate not seen since the Great Recession. Nearly 20% of pending home sales are falling apart before closing, leaving both buyers and sellers in financial limbo. For some, the breakdown starts with a routine inspection. Roof damage, outdated wiring, or floodplain adjustments trigger renegotiations or outright withdrawals. Others watch deals collapse when lenders pull back, citing new insurance requirements or last-minute premium hikes that double projected costs. In Atlantic Beach, one family lost their dream home when a $3,200 insurance quote ballooned to $6,700 just days before closing. The buyer walked. The seller, already carrying 2 mortgages, faced another month of uncertainty and mounting bills. Local agents are fielding calls from panicked sellers who have relisted the same property 3, even 4 times in a single year. Each attempt brings a lower asking price. First a $10,000 cut, then $25,000, now $50,000 or more. In some neighborhoods, over 31% of listings have reduced their price at least once. Mortgage officers describe a growing stack of rejected applications, most citing a combination of insurance cost overruns and new underwriting rules. The result is a shrinking pool of qualified buyers, rising inventory, and a market where even aggressive price cuts can't guarantee a sale. For Jacksonville, the credit squeeze is more than a policy change. It's a brake on demand, locking out buyers and leaving sellers stranded in a sea of unsold homes. Governor DeSantis faced a wall of cameras and angry city council members as Jacksonville's housing unraveling turned political. At a tense press conference in late July, the governor stood firm, refusing to back emergency relief bills pitched by local leaders. Reporters pressed him on the city's proposal for a $1,000 property tax rebate to help homeowners drowning in insurance bills and negative equity. DeSantis, voice tight, insisted Florida will not bail out market speculation. The market will correct itself. We must resist panic. His words drew a sharp rebuke from Council President Maria Lopez, who fired back from the dais. Our families are not speculators. They're victims of policy failure and runaway costs. We need action, not slogans. Council minutes from that week captured the frustration boiling over. Lopez and her allies demanded direct state aid, pointing to the city's record $6,700 average insurance premium and a growing list of vacant homes. We have the reserves, she argued, and we owe it to our residents to keep them in their homes. The debate spilled into the halls, with advocacy groups rallying outside the Capitol, waving signs that read, "Stop the bleed, relief now," and "Market forces equals broken promises." Inside the State House, lawmakers split along familiar lines. Some backed the governor's hands-off approach, echoing his calls for patience and faith in free market recovery. Others, including several from hard-hit Duval and St. Johns counties, broke ranks, warning that inaction would fuel a migration wave out of Florida. "We're losing families, not just numbers," one representative warned during floor debate. "Every week we delay, another neighborhood empties out." The governor's public remarks grew more defensive as the weeks dragged on. At a town hall in August, DeSantis dismissed talk of a housing crash as media hysteria, but struggled to answer pointed questions about the 20% contract fallout rate and the surge of price cuts in Jacksonville. One local agent describes the new reality. "We prep for closing, then the insurance quote comes in at $8,200. The buyer walks. We start over. Every failed deal leaves a paper trail. Escrow logs fill with cancellation notices citing insurance refusals, sudden premium spikes, or lenders demanding coverage that simply isn't available." In the past quarter alone, more than 100 homes in Atlantic Beach have cycled through multiple contracts, each time with a new set of buyers, new inspections, and new disappointments. Sellers, already stretched thin, are forced to relist, slash prices, and cover 2 mortgages while waiting for a buyer who can clear all the hurdles. The emotional toll is mounting. Families who plan to move for a job or school district are now stuck, watching their savings drain month after month. Behind the numbers is a cascade of personal stories. A retired couple counting on a sale to fund their move closer to grandchildren watched 3 deals fall apart in 6 months. Each time, the buyer's financing failed when the insurance premium doubled after inspection. Another family, already under contract on their next home, had their own sale collapse days before closing, forcing them to bridge 2 payments and scramble for a short-term loan. For every successful closing, there's another household caught in a holding pattern. Their plans on hold as the market grinds to a halt. The instability is concentrated in Atlantic Beach for a reason. Insurance premiums here routinely top $7,000, and vacancy rates have soared to nearly 30%. Inventory has quadrupled since early 2024, flooding the market with options, but draining it of urgency. Buyers know they hold all the cards. If a single detail doesn't add up, whether it's a roof age, a flood zone, or a last-minute lender request, they can walk away and find another home without penalty. Sellers, meanwhile, have no such luxury. Each failed contract means another month of carrying costs, another round of price cuts, another shot at a deal that might never close. Atlantic Beach's 28% fallout rate isn't just a statistic. It's the clearest sign yet that the promise of Florida homeownership has unraveled at the very place where it once felt most secure. For sellers, the risk of being left stranded is no longer hypothetical. It's built into every contract, every showing, every anxious call from the title company. In 32233, the dream of a smooth sale has given way to a cycle of hope, disappointment, and mounting financial strain. The question now isn't whether deals will fall through, but how many more families can afford to wait for the next buyer to actually close. Insurance premiums in Atlantic Beach now top $7,000 a year, an expense that rivals mortgage payments and often exceeds property taxes. For many, this is not just a budget concern. It is a barrier that locks out new buyers and pushes longtime residents to the edge. The numbers are unforgiving. Median household income sits at $64,000, while the income needed to safely afford a median home has soared to at least $88,000, sometimes reaching $93,000 once insurance and taxes are included. The gap is too wide for most families to cross. Vacancy is spreading. Nearly 30% of homes in Atlantic Beach now stand empty, almost triple the state average and far above rates in inland Duval County. Utility shutoffs and tax records confirm the trend. Streets once filled with neighbors now feature locked doors, overgrown yards, and for sale signs that linger. Many of these properties belong to investors who bought at the market's peak, expecting steady appreciation or rental income. Instead, they face negative cash flow, mounting repair costs, and insurance quotes that erase any hope of profit. With tenants scarce and expenses rising, more owners are simply walking away, swelling the inventory. Active listings have quadrupled since early 2024. In January, about 90 homes were for sale. By September 2025, that number had exploded past 360. Each new listing signals distress, a homeowner giving up, an investor cutting losses, or a landlord unable to keep up with costs. The market is saturated and buyers know it. They can afford to wait, to walk away from deals that do not meet their terms, or to hold out for even lower prices. Sellers, meanwhile, are trapped by the math. Every week without a sale means another month of insurance, taxes, and mortgage payments they may not be able to cover. The investor retreat has only made things worse. Firms that once snapped up dozens of homes at a time have stopped buying, citing negative cash flow risk and the unpredictability of insurance. Some have started offloading properties at a loss, preferring to take the hit now rather than bleed money for another year. Local fund managers describe capital fleeing Florida for markets with more stable ownership costs. For Atlantic Beach, this means a wave of forced sales and abandoned listings, each one pushing prices down and vacancies up. First-time buyers, once the backbone of the market, now find themselves locked out. Even with good credit and steady jobs, many cannot clear the new hurdles set by lenders and insurers. Every deal comes with a gauntlet of requirements: windstorm coverage, flood insurance, higher down payments, strict debt-to-income ratios. Many reach the final underwriting stage, only to be undone by a last-minute premium spike that makes the numbers impossible. The cycle repeats: another failed sale, another home back on the market, another family's plans on hold. Atlantic Beach stands as the epicenter of Florida's housing affordability crisis. The collision of runaway insurance costs, stagnant incomes, investor flight, and surging vacancies has created a zone where homeownership is out of reach for all but the wealthiest. For everyone else, the dream is gone, replaced by uncertainty and the reality that here, the market has become unbuyable. In 2025, nearly 20% of all pending home sales in Jacksonville fell through, while median prices slipped over 4% year over year, and active listings doubled within months. This documentary traced the roots of the crisis through surging insurance costs, stricter lending, builder markdowns, and investor withdrawals. Official records highlight Atlantic Beach as the state's most distressed zip code, with cancellation rates at 28% and insurance premiums topping $7,000 per year. Yet many questions remain. State documents on internal policy debates remain partially sealed, and the full economic impact on local communities is not yet measured. What's clear from MLS data, press transcripts, and council minutes is that the housing crash has shifted power towards buyers, increased vacancy, and forced policymakers into a public standoff. As of now, Jacksonville stands as a case study in how market corrections can reshape a city, with consequences still unfolding in neighborhoods across Florida.